Roll back. Roll back. Yeah, all is well. Yo. Oh, y'all ain't know I could teleport, did it? Shh, don't tell nobody. I'm only gonna show y'all one more time though. That's it. And one more time, that's it. Haters gonna say I was running. When nobody goddamn. Oh, y'all ain't know I could do that. One more time. That's my divine etheric acid that allows me to do that. I don't know. I'm really one of them. See, I didn't be on here talking and shit. I really teleport, all that type of shit. Just shows you in real time. If you just came here, I'm gonna show you one more time. See? That type of shit, nobody getting that, no more of that for free. I gotta subscribe to see the rest of that. I'm not getting no more of that for free. Maybe one more time. One more. But after that, that's it. This time you can even hear the teleportation as it powered up. You could even hear, what's going on, Heaven? You could even hear the teleportation as it powered up. The breathing, what you talking about? Normal breathing. That's why y'all can't teleport. Learn how to do it. Y'all can be like me. All right, what y'all got? What's the questions? Anybody got any questions? Let's do it. Let's talk. What? 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 What you want? It's your interview. What, man? What you want, girl? What you want? What you want to know? Origin of DNA, research nucleotides, phosphates, basics, base sequences. You have to look into what makes up DNA. Sugars, ribose, deoxyribose. You got DNA, RNA. How is Islam first? I never said it was first. I think I understand what you're trying to ask, though. I said Islam was closest to home. Home is Nuwapu, the highest science that has ever braced this planet is Nuwapu. I already gave people time and room to argue that, deal with whatever delusion they had. They never stepped forth. None of the ones who are the pinnacle top people, Captain Cesariat, 19 Keys, all these other religions, they don't step forth. They know not to. Nuwapu is the highest science to ever brace this planet so far. So the closest to that in tone, frequency, and ether, energy, is Islam, which is why you see all the rappers starting to point toward Islam first. And then we pull them to Nuwapu. How did I do that? Thought you never asked. Remember the song Source? Remember that song? That's how I did it. The song caught in the ethers. It went viral multiple times, organically. That's another thing. I never paid for promo, any of that. I just made a meme. And from that meme, it went everywhere. So shout out to Supreme Dreams in them, because that's the most work that was done. A video that already existed. And you started to hear more rappers and see more rappers start to point in that direction. Just like Quando Rondo, right before he went in. You saw him make a video. If you did see it, it was called Here for a Reason. Here for a Reason. Right? And he was walking through a blue door in the video, and he was on a prayer rug, and he was prostrating. He was bowing down before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the God of his religion to date at this time. And he was being protected by his act of doing so. Right? And there were bullies that were trying to connect with him, but he was protected by Ilah, or Eliu, or Alayu, or Elaha, or Allah. That source. That was him channeling into that. So he also saying God got the last say. Same thing Faise once said. He's also saying he's working to be a better man. There's nothing wrong with doing the right thing, walking the right path, going the right way. Okay. So in the grand scheme, he's pardoned already. Just by putting it on record that Phase 1 ain't tripping. That's what a lot of them are doing. Now, they would have had to already been on that beforehand for them to avoid being pulled into the dark chambers, which y'all call jail. But even still, we can grant pardon when we acknowledge that somebody is acknowledging that they're going the wrong way. Dirk was late. Dirk waited. He was arrogant. He waited for a while, and we watched, and I wouldn't speak too much on Dirk, right? Because my people, Slime Life Shawty, was right there associated with Dirk. And I was talking to him about getting that message further. And we would have talks about it, how, you know what I mean, some of this stuff sell and it ain't really what he want to do. And I'm saying, look, all you got to do is keep pushing it out, hoping that in turn he will be able to get over there in that camp of OTF, which is what we're supposed to do, because he was right there with me in high school and I told all of them what we was going to go out and do. And I didn't really see it coming out in the beginning until it started to happen with YSL and all of them. And word was getting around that Dirk was going to be next, and then Lil Baby. And then that word was in the street, by the way. It ain't, that's through the wire. So everybody kind of already know what type of RICOs is pending. Everybody kind of already know who's been investigated, who's been tipped off for what. Even Lil Baby know he on watch. That's why in one of his recent songs, which I told y'all keep paying attention, he was like, they trying to tie him to dumb shit, and he got lawyers and everything. He ready. He already know. Ain't but so much you're gonna be able to pay off and avert. You know what I mean? Drake included, because ain't but so much you'll be able to pay off. Even in the order, you get a certain amount of tokens, but you can't after a certain amount of time, you can't keep using them tokens. You feel what I'm saying? You can't keep using, what you're using, and now you got to pay another way. And sometimes that results in humiliation. Sometimes that results in being hung up in front of everybody or crucified. There's different ways it can happen. So I already put it on notice that, like if you go listen to my song, New Brain, I said, can't nobody save them, not the church and not the mosque, right? Now, a lot of the rappers were first associating themselves with the church. But then I was seeing Lil Durk take pictures and images in the mosque. And I put that in my letter to Lil Baby song. This so you can go back and track what I'm doing and see what I'm saying on a higher level now. And I said, really, the mosque can't save him because he still has to respond for his hand in this destruction. But my hand wasn't slapping too hard in his direction, for one, because of the fact that I had somebody over there that was already able to speak right knowledge. And, you know what I mean, to see what was going to happen, to see, it's a few different people in a few different locations people don't really know nothing about, that are able to speak right knowledge to these camps. That's how I know what's going on in certain areas, and see what they gonna do. Some people report back to me when it's motion. Some people just go and pass out the, you know what I'm saying, the information and let people know what's moving and see if they gonna hop on and see what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the rest of them. But Islam, to answer your question, is the closest to home in tone. You know what I mean? When you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Maliki Yawmuddin, like it's tones. You feel what I'm saying? As opposed to praise God, Jesus, hallelujah. It's different. One of them will make you really center out. The other one is like, it'll get you excited, yeah. But you got to play piano and all this other stuff, beat the drum with it to get a rise out of people. You just say that, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And it automatically, the soul starts to be provicted. You know what I'm saying? Or pulled out of darkness. It just happens through tone, through language. You got a different, that's why I say next after the Arabic, or the Arabians, or the Arabs, or that Islam, or that peace, comes Hebrew Israelites, the ones who are crossing over into Israel, all right, or Israel, and the answer being Tua, or yes, Ra is El, all right, where you meet up with the sun, which is Islam or Salem, the center, soul, Salam, Solam. Soul is the center, soul is also light, soul is also sun. You go look that up in Latin and you'll see what I'm saying. You feel what I'm saying? So the closest to Islam would be the Hebrew Israelites. Why? Not just because of their tone of Ibri or Hebrew, okay, because most of them don't speak it. You'll find that, you know, interesting that the Arabs, they're very adamant about speaking Arabic, which is why the Nation of Islam caught so much flack, because you talk to somebody from the Nation of Islam and they don't know a lick of Arabic. You understand? But they were claiming Islam. When Dr. Malachi York was teaching Islam in its pristine purity, it was required that you know Arabic or Arabia, that you speak the language, so that not only you understand the tones of it for yourself and it resonates with you, but also you're able to tap into the Quran on a whole different way, on a whole different frequency. Meaning, if I'm just reading the Bible and I don't have any history in my brain about Hebrew, it's only a certain amount of understanding that I'll get. So I'm going to read in the beginning as opposed to in beginning. Okay, where that article isn't there in Ibri or Hebrew. You place it there in English. There's a few different words. You say God, but you say Elohim. Elohim's a whole different meaning than just saying God as one being, which will make more sense when he's saying, let us make man in our image and all those other things. So when you look into the pristine purity aspect of Arabic and Al-Quran and Islam, you start realizing these were the best of the best Muslims. Not saying that they had the answers to all of the truth. No, it's not saying that they were the ones who had the right way of life. It was that if they were going to do Islam, they were going to do Islam to such a degree that it wouldn't be able to be argued that they weren't living their religion. Does this make sense? Meaning, if it works, it works. Let's see if it works. That's why Dr. Malachi York was able to clean up the streets in Brooklyn. He was given the key to the city. That's why he was getting all these people off the streets and changing this, changing that. The children were learning Arabic. The children were teaching the parents Arabic. The children came up with a whole different language called Nubic. Where you look in history, you find that the children came up with a language. The children came up with an alphabet or harafat. What does that happen? It didn't happen, but you want to know what caused it to happen? Arabic, and actually knowing the language and the tones thereof, and actually observing what Al-Quran, as far as the science, was offering. See, people get it misconstrued. They think that if Jesus is supposed to be painted Caucasoid and presented to the world as some Caucasoid being, that must mean that that's what the biblical text would have been saying. And then they get lost in the race. That's why I had a teaching called Racism Turned You Away from Christ. Racism did it. It wasn't Christ being this person that, it was racism. The fact that people had observed or heard about oppression that their ancestors went through. Okay, with Caucasoids. Then they're looking at these Caucasoids of today, and they're blaming these Caucasoids for what happened to their ancestors, not even knowing whether or not the Caucasoid you're looking at is actually a descendant of these people who were depicted in these movies. It's all about vision. These books and these stories, or if you sat at the feet of the elders to hear about the actual devil Caucasoids who did these things. You feel what I'm saying? So then there's a lack of science in that regard, because you start thinking that every Caucasoid is a descendant of slave owners and every Negroid is a descendant of slaves. And that is false. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So Islam, being closest to home, was saying, clean yourselves up. Don't eat unclean. All right. Islam was saying, dress modest for the women so they can understand more about the power of their bodies. All right. Islam was saying for the brothers, hey, protect your eyes, protect your gaze, stop lusting after every damn thing that you see walking. All right. That takes sex further and further out of the picture. It becomes, if it's observed correctly, does this mean for the people who had heard that all of the Muslims, imams, rest of these people were actually observing this science? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that if we say, here's how you bake the cake, 1, 2, 3. And you start doing 5, 7, 8, you ain't in Islam anymore. So then it becomes mainstream Islam. And when it becomes mainstream Islam, mainstream Christianity, mainstream, you want to know what this mainstream conscious community is? 19 Keys, Nature Boy, Young Pharaoh, Rashad Jamal. That's mainstream conscious community, which is why they make the news. You ain't seen Phase 1 on no news article. They were making Rashad, he posted it up and said, look, they making another article about me. Yeah, because your mainstream conscious community is actually smarter for them to do it that way. It's quick. As soon as y'all do something that don't make sense, they love to blow it up for the rest of the world to see. Say, see, the conscious community dumb. Ask them to come over here. Come sit with us. Come talk with us. Come sit with the ones who actually sat amongst the monks. Come sit with the ones who actually observed these religions and took in the qualities of all of that to figure out where it was supposed to go, which was the center. Come really sit with us. And we're not going to act like we know things that we don't know. Come sit with us. Come really talk to the ones who observed Nuwap and absorbed Nuwap in their genes from children, even before then. Come talk to us. They don't want to talk to us. They only want to try to act like they talking to us when something like Brother Polite get taken down, and they throw Brother Polite and say, Brother Polite, son of Dr. Malachi, which he's no such thing. Brother Polite, son of Dr. Malachi Ziyor, get taken down for this. No, there are people who are out here who ain't doing what Brother Polite was doing. We ain't running around trying to flaunt Versace shirts and act like Wu Nuwap is about gaining riches. You know what I'm saying? We not out here playing around in the sex rings and none of that. We not involved in none of that stuff. So come talk to the ones who you don't got to worry about looking through our computer. Go talk to the ones who you ain't got to ask. You ain't got to worry about asking if we've been involved in this, that, and the third criminal activity. Come talk to the ones who were taught to walk right in the beginning. They don't want to talk to us. They want to keep putting that's mainstream conscious community, which is why I said don't call me conscious community. The moment you start trying to do that, it ain't going to make sense. You're going to think, oh, you're trying to take black men down and this, that, and the third. No, you're not paying attention. Those are the frauds. And it's not hard to find out who the frauds are. The frauds don't want to focus in on Dr. Malachi York, but they want to use his work. If you listen, here's what I'll say. If you really like that, don't use his work. And I'm going to be like, yo, salute. You one of them. If you really like that, I ain't got nothing to say. I don't think everybody got to be focused on him. I'm waiting on the one who ain't got to be focused on him. I had to. Because overstand ain't mine. Ether ain't mine. Be like Eve ain't mine. All this breaking down words and the etymology of this, the third, and make it make sense is his. Each one teach one is his. Everything that we got out here is people to use it is his. So if you got something that ain't nowhere near his stuff and ain't even using his formula, I'll listen. But if you come in and you literally just repeating what he's saying, right? Even down to the 24 elders, 23 elders, however many elders they want to say there is, right? Even down to your cosmic divine insight. That's straight from Dr. Malachi York. But okay, so if you really that, then fine. Here's what Dr. York said. If they wanted those, ask them to teach you something that's never been taught. Because the things that he was saying to the people have never been taught before are in the holy tablets. He's lying. All the prison planet stuff, all of that stargates with the rainbows, all holy tablets. It's all in the book. But it's just one book, so I think that's one of the things that make it harder for people to understand. Like, that's just one book. But you have to understand, he's written over 1,000 books. So, again, if you really wanted it, you got to teach something that's new, because Nuwapu was brand new to us. This world has never, even right now, if you get off of here and try to Google what Nuwapu is, Google going to be like, come again? They don't know what it is. They cannot say for sure what Nuwapu is, which is why even when it comes to talking to him, talking about Dr. York, they can't stay on his work. They got to go straight to the allegations and try to stay there. And they don't know about that because we say, okay, you want to do that? Fine. We got that too. Here go the case. Where you want to start? Let's start with that he's not convicted of what you say he's convicted of. Here go the documentation on that. Let's start with they threw that whole case out. Here go the documentation on that. Where you want to go? We play wherever you want to play because that's Nuwapu. But they can't, then they start walking off and acting like we in some type of cult. The whole conscious community is a cult. And y'all have multiple cult leaders that don't want you to think for yourselves. Because they really wanted you to think for yourself. They wouldn't cover or cover up Dr. Malachi York, the one who taught you to think for yourselves. You feel what I'm saying? It would make more sense why the delusion is happening. Like carbonation is a delusion. How is carbonation? Because there's no such thing as a carbonated being. Living organisms, bio beings, are composed of carbon. Not just melanin dominant ones, family. Come on, have a seat. Not just melanin dominant people. The melanin dominant gene versus the melanin recessive gene is a science that you can all learn by yourselves. You didn't need no nigga standing in his living room screaming at you to tell you you didn't have that science already in your genes. It's literally genetics. So when we going into chemistry, though, like I told you, they found the periodic table. They said, ooh, they start looking at each other. Ooh, what is this? Somebody says a periodic table. They pick one of the elements and say, ooh, carbon, 666. Ain't that interesting? They ran with that. Bobby Hemmings bumped his head, woke up and said, 666 is black people. And then everybody started to run with that like they was etherically downloading that. Wrong. You've never been so wrong. Then I heard somebody say, Rashad Jamal, I heard him say, we got neuromelanin. But everybody does. But everybody, the animals have melanin. Did y'all know that? Somebody like, huh? We're the melanated. Stop it. You're not the melanated beings. That is embarrassing. If you want to come sit with us at this table, stop saying that. Everybody that is a human being on planet Earth has melanin. Is that clear? Neuromelanin, look at the word neuro, which is why you know people will stand there and scream at you and they don't research what they're saying. Neurogenesis, neurodevelopment, neurotransmitter, nervous system, nerves, brain. So now the Caucasoids don't have brains? They don't have brains either. Do you understand what I'm explaining to you? Everybody has goddamn melanin. It's the darker parts, the darker pigment of your fucking brain. Everybody got it. Now, if they would have said you melanin, it'd have been different. But they don't know what they're talking about, so they didn't know that. You go, you melanin? Feel melanin? What do you want to do? Or pheno, however you want to go. You're not saying neuro because that's the brain. You understand? So you have different pigments. Then you have to realize that what you're calling a Caucasoid is only a genetic variation of that dominant gene, which is the melanin dominant gene. You understand that? So if somebody is an Asian, they're still a melanated being. They just have a different variation of that melanin. I don't think they've ever seen alleles in their life. I think if you ask them, what is an allele? They're going to say, Elo, God. Wrong. I just ask them what these things are. They talking to y'all like they really know, and we laughing because I don't know. Maybe because I'm a rapper, people don't think that we actually study because we had to. Some niggas was allowed to go out and run and chase girls and do other. We had to sit in them books. We had no choice. So now it's like, oh. And I don't think they understanding why I know how to reach the masses with my music. Same reason why I say, stop writing all these letters to these rappers. We tired of that. First of all, why are you in there knowing about what I'm doing? Who ready to tell it on me? To you, he out here writing letters and stuff. They need to be helping you get out. I don't understand that. If I ever, listen, don't y'all ever do that. Come telling me what other niggas got going on. Help me, nigga. Why are you telling me what somebody else? No, we ain't gonna stop writing the letters. Because the letters is reaching the masses. They don't want to reach the masses. They want to reach the conscious community, because the conscious, it's like preaching to the choir, right? And the conscious community already believes what they're saying. You already believe in what they're doing. You already believe in them, and you think that these are divine beings. You're ignoring all of the things that they're doing in the process that show you that they're totally against divinity. You're ignoring that. And then you say, these must be divine beings. So then you believe everything they say. You buy into everything they're doing, all their products and everything. And you never questioning really, truly, who is it and what is it that you're following? All right. That's why I'm telling you, the don't believe me, check it out formula that I was raised up on, I actually use it. And don't feel bad, because there's new Wahabians who don't use it. And he said that. He said, yeah, I told you, don't believe me. Y'all still want to sit and believe. You still want a religion. You still want this. Okay, that's what y'all won't find. But that ain't what we was given. So I know all of this coming from your question of how is Islam first. It's not that Islam is first. It's closest in frequency to Nuwapu. Nuwapu, Nupu, Nebu, Nebi, Nevi. Navy, naval, naval, the water, navy, the water, naval, the naval that you have, the navy deal with the water. Okay, Nebi is a prophet. Okay, so we speaking in prophet with someone who's going to speak and bring a message before a certain being arrives, or about a certain being, which your ancestors would have been prophets in that regard, because if your ancestors had genetic material in their body, which they did, which is why you're here. Okay, it held information. And that information was passed on genetically to you. So then the messengers that came here before you are your ancestors. Those are prophets. Does this make sense? Some people may not understand it. The gift of prophecy is rooted in ancestry. If you have ancestors, which if you're here, unless you're a test tube baby or you're growing in the lab, you have ancestors. And your genetic material has been passed down to you. That's an information. That's like playing telephone. Which telephone is just saying to send a message far off. And those messages were sent far off, traveling through the genetics. You understand? In the DNA. So if that DNA or these chromosomes come with their own pieces of information passed on to you, then you have prophets all through your bloodline. And these pieces of information travel through water or seminal fluid, okay, or vaginal fluid. And they become a part of your being, which is composed of 70% of water. So listen to this key. Navy, naval, water, Nabi, Nabi'un. Nabi'un means prophets. Nabi means prophet. So if I say Nabi, that's a prophet. Navy, water. Water, speaking. Water, speaking. Speaking about God through water. Speaking about your Most High, which is your origin, through water, which is the seminal fluids and the vaginal fluids that allow for the mixtures to take place, which causes for life in the womb or the explosion. You understand that Big Bang that causes you to exist. I hope you're catching it, because that is Medu Nectar. Medu is water god. Ma Deo, Ma Teo, water god. Nectar. Nectar is just nectar. You don't got to listen to me. You'll find it out eventually, because that's why the Masons, and I am a traveler, use honey. They use the pyramid, which is the honeycomb. They use the matriarch, which is the queen bee. Are you with me? So Queen Bee gives you the 13, if you've been paying attention and walking with me. 13, capital B, the 1 and the 3. And that 13 is the letter M, which is the Ma or the Madre. Mada, Madu, Madu. And Madu in Sanskrit means what? Honey. Go look it up. Madu, M-A-D-H-U. Honey. Okay? Or nectar. And you have nectar who? Or nectaru. Or nectar. Nectar. And the pyramid is the honeycomb. And the other honeycomb that you have is called your heart. It's so simple. It's so simple. All right? So then those systems were set up to pass on that water or that blood or that nectar, whichever one would be the fluid that will be the vessel to channel information. Now, that sounds so spiritual until you realize, damn, he just broke down the actual science of a prophet. Genetically, yeah? So then you'll understand why Genesis and genetics are interchangeable words. Go look at the etymology of both of them. So when we say in beginning, all right, Bereshith, in beginning, bara Elohim, okay, God created the heavens and the earth at Shamayim, all right, or Hashamayim, wa or et Eretz, okay, the heavens and the earth, or et Eretz wa Shamayim, all right. So if God created the heavens and the earth, there's something that's missing, and I challenge you to ask any of your pastors, reverends, imams, anybody, please show me where water was created. No, that's not what we observe. We observe that the heavens, which are the cosmos, remember Rashad Jamal and them was there. So they was there, they was making the stars and stuff. You know what I mean? That's what he said. I don't know. I have to take his word for it. They was creating the cosmos and stuff. They didn't create the water. I don't know what they was standing on either when they was making stuff. So I have to assume they were floating inertly, because if you have to create all things, you have to also create motion. So inertness must have been created first so that motion could be, but in order for them to have created inertness, they would have had to been a being, which would have constituted motion. So I don't think he created the cosmos. Because if you were an energetic configuration of any type, that means that there was motion, and motion wouldn't be inert. So you couldn't have been nun, and that wouldn't have made sense. You understand why Nuwapu, they don't want to talk to us? Because, like, okay, who and what were you when you created it? Oh, I was one of the scientists. Then where were you? Because they said it was everywhere, then how did you do a thing? Because everywhere can't do something. The omnipresent cannot do anything but be. And being is an action, which would mean that even omnipresence is challenged by the human psyche. You're not able to fathom omnipresence, so you don't know where everywhere is, where everything isn't. So then where were you when you created this, that, and the third? So anyway, let's say that there was a creation of the cosmos or the heavens or the stars. There was still water. And even when they, quote unquote, created your planet or Earth, because you got to keep this in mind, they never said we created the planet. They said created Eretz, which is earth, land. Go look it up. E-R-E-T-Z. It means a landmass. So that means there were already particles that would have had to exist for them to be pulled together and held together by some type of bond collectively that would allow for matter as land to exist, which meant that it would have already been in the water, which not only would life come from water in that sense, even land would have come from water. So what would that have meant? It would have meant that water was here already. Even when they created it and formed it, really, because bara doesn't necessarily mean create. You can look up bara, it really means form. That's another thing. So if they would have formed the land, they would have either been using the particles that were already there, the elementary particles, to do that, or they would have brought land from wherever they were and installed it on Earth. You understand? But even still, you have to look at the fact that if you're looking at it from the scientific module of the planet Earth, the water is actually sitting on top of land anyway. So they would have had to form the whole of the earth inside of the water that was the vast existence of space and all of that. They would have had to done that if that were what occurred, or if that was what happened. And then they would have had to close that off to be able to grow an atmosphere or yield an atmosphere that would have allowed for life to exist. Life that would have had to exist on land also, which you get the oxygen exchange from the trees and the oceans and all of that. That would have had to been a system or ecosystem set up to sustain life that would have been able to do a job as humanoid beings. You get what I'm explaining to you? So if that were the case, then that's where you get the science of the firmament. But you could not have a firmament or a magnetosphere on a flat plane, which means that whatever the gravitational center of this machine of a planet would have been, it would have had to been able to hold all things around itself, which is where you get that globe concept from. I ain't been out there. Don't ask me if it's flat or round. Argue with yourself. I ain't been out there. I'm just saying what make more sense. Because how we have a magnetosphere on a flat plane? You know what I mean? It would have been a magneto flat or a magneto semisphere. But the magnetosphere would have meant that all of the directions of this planet would have been protected from harmful rays of the sun and other things that would have needed to be caught in, you know what I mean, that atmosphere. Not just for that reason. It's because you have a north and a south pole. which due to magnetism with north and south poles is going to create a magnetic field. So all of that makes sense scientifically. So let's say that that magnetic field would have been what you're referring to as the firmament, or it would have been a part of it, because when they described rakia, or the firmament, they said that it looked like a mirror, a molten mirror, or molten looking glass. Okay, that's not hard. I don't know what people get in this hard thing. Maybe because rakia sounds like rock, but that's not hard. If it's looking like molten mirror or molten looking glass, in all actuality, that's some type of substance that's fluidic. When you melt something, is anybody confused? When you melt something, it's no longer this. It don't matter what it is. Now it has a fluidic texture to it, or molecular structure. So then that could have been what was used to quarantine this planet or keep it blocked off for whatever the reasons would have been. What's my point here? You could be looking at literally something that is still water. It could still be water, and they're not able to get past those different layers of it, which they're thinking is water. So the closest thing they get is water, but then you have plasma, and then you have all these other different things that these anti-gravity vehicles would be needed to even traverse. Now, was I there when they did this? I don't remember. They got to tap me and say, nigga, you was there. Ain't nobody told me that, so I ain't going to sit here and claim that I was one of the 28 scientists who was sitting there writing and eating cheese sandwiches when they did shit. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I'm telling you, what would make more sense scientifically is that water was here first. So if water was here first and all things were made from that water, then your genetic material traces all the way back to what? Water. So then your most high is water. That means the message is coming from the water. All of your creation or yielding goes right back to this right here. Water. Does this make sense? So, Islam is closest to that message that brings you to water. Listen to the different elements in the language. Right now, I'm speaking English. I'm speaking English. If I say Torah, all right, if I say Shalom, I'm speaking Hebrew. If I say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, all right, Urubillahi min ash-shaitanir rajim, I'm speaking Arabic. If I say Rahubad Wahotep, okay, you can literally listen to, through the language, the different states that the language is traveling through. From English back to Nuwapic, it starts to sound more fluidic. And you start sounding like you're speaking like water. You understand? Which one sounds like more water? Right now, I'm saying some words. Right? Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. It starts to flow. And they actually speak it in such a way that it sounds like a song. All right? That's where you start developing the voice of the sound of many what? Y'all ain't hearing me. They said that somebody, okay, pass the plate around. They said somebody had the voice of the sound of many waters. Waters. So waters would be languages, and waters would also be different bodies of water, whereby the land rested, that these different tones were. So then that gives you the gift of prophecy. Prophecy. The prophets were not going around speaking in tongues like blah, 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 blah. I don't know why people say, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I understand. Maybe like when we used to sing, we used to have to do that. I get it. Because maybe it helps you produce more of a keen sound that can connect to people or connect to people. But that's not what it meant. So we know as soon as you get to doing that hubba stuff, we know you either one or the other. You either think you fooling somebody or you trying to just get it, you shaking it off so the message can come through. We'll allow that. But that's not what it meant. Because if you do that in front of me and I have to look around and ask, what do you say? Then you didn't speak in tongues. Because in Corinthians, it was saying that when they spoke in tongues, everybody around was able to understand what they were saying, and people from different parts of the planet were able to understand when they spoke. How was that possible, Faise? That would still have to be the Holy Spirit. You're right. It would have to be the Holy Spirit, because holy is wholesome, okay, or complete, and utter. Listen to the word complete and utter. Utter deals with tone or tongue, and spirit is information. Spirare. Go look it up. Spirare gives you spiral or spin, which gives you coiled, or the kundalini,
all right, or the Razuth in Nuwapic gives you that language letter GH, which gives you Ra, all right, so that Razuth also means coiled or spinning. So they were able to spin information through the spiral or reach through spirit, and spirit gives you information or ki or ka. All right, when you say Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, I breathed into man spirit and he became a living soul. Spirit is that information that takes you from the dense state to the gaseous or Jesus state of being an ascended master, as you call it, or a heightened sensory being, okay, which extrasensory perception, or just whatever you would like to say is consciously elevated. Because when you elevate or ascend in frequency, you cause things to speed up, and that causes for their molecules to spread out. And it goes from one dense state to a less dense state to a lesser dense state, which means they're able to move more. That's where you get into the ether, going to be the ethereal. I hope I ain't losing nobody. You with me? So, again, the more you look into it, it's all science. All right, Nuwapu. So these messages were able to be expressed in such a way that people could understand it. That was the spirit you're talking about. Look, even when people say spirit means breath, well, actually you have to know that spirare brings you to breath. All right? It goes deeper. It ain't just breath. You have to find your way to what the breath is, and you'll find that it's information that is coiled up. That's chromosomes, family, if you really want to know. Because even in the upper room, all right, the upper room, Jesus went up and met with the disciples, the ones who had discipline enough to reach that point of the room, and he breathed on them. I hope niggas don't think that literally meant niggas walked in and was like, ah. And they was like, I get it now. Somehow I get it now. This nigga just breathed on me. No, it was putting the information, explaining what we were saying. Didn't I tell you these things would come to pass? Breathing on you. Passing on that DNA or genetic information, and it can be done through tone. This is where you get into epigenetic, or above or around the gene. What can happen that's not happening necessarily from the gene is happening in an environment where the gene is being expressed or regulated, okay, which is the whole of the being, because your whole being has DNA in every cell. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So as long as that's clear, you'll get what I mean when I'm saying speaking in tongues has to mean that you're speaking in such a way that I can understand what you're saying. And if I can't, you're not speaking in tongues. And if I have to ask you to translate and you get upset with me, that should show you that you're not truly moving in that Holy Spirit, because you will be patient and kind and loving enough to say, family, here's what I meant. But you shouldn't have to explain what you meant if you're speaking in tongues. So how, again, Faise, can some people speak in tongues without using the Holy Spirit? How we've been taught that the Holy Spirit just means some shit doing like this. No, the Holy Spirit would have been that information that they would have needed to reach all of these people in such a way that they can understand what is being expressed. So what does that mean? They were say it with me, multi-tongued. The word tongue gives you lingue, lingua. They had multiple languages, linguas, or tongues under their belt. They were multilingual. That makes sense? Does it make more sense than they were just talking blah, 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 blah. Niggas like, I get what that nigga's saying. I know what that nigga talking about. No, somebody was speaking this way. Somebody was speaking that way, this tone, this language. So then to the English speaker, doesn't that sound like gibberish? And if you could try to repeat that, what do you say? Okay, I'm going to do that too. Like I know what the Holy Spirit is. Y'all are mocking the Holy Spirit. Y'all are mocking the ones who actually spoke in tongues. And it's okay because you didn't know no better. You were taught to do that by the Pentecostal church and the rest of these people who get on TV and do this television. They used to do that. Okay, we saw that. But that's not really speaking in tongues. Ask them to argue it themselves because it's in their book. I just told you everything that's there on that. So that's one of the gifts. So if you have the ability to speak in tongues and reach multiple people, okay, then that means you have the voice of a sound of many waters. Are not human beings composed of water? You understand what I'm explaining to you? So you can reach their genes. So if I speak multiple languages, which is what Dr. Malachi, he speaks 19 languages. He speaks one language for every circle in the flower of life. Do the math. He speaks 19 languages. He was able to reach more people. And every time you're learning a new language, guess what winds up happening? A part of your brain is being enhanced. Your neuroplasticity is being enhanced. So your ability to take in more information is like it's contrary to what people might think. You know what I mean? You actually start making more room for more information the more you learn. Do I need to say that one more time? You're not running out of space here. The more you learn, the more you make more room for more information. That's when you start realizing the science of the computer, or the computer science of your brain, which to you is an automaton. All right? Meaning, do you consciously or consciously make your brain work, or does it work without you causing it or telling it to do a thing? Which means that you have already been pre-programmed genetically to have a functional brain. Then your brain is an automaton. If you don't know what an automaton is, it's just two words. It's simple. Auto is saying self. And maton is saying machine for one, or operating or acting. Okay, so go look at all of that. You'll find it. Machine, acting, operating, or doing, or being. So if it's doing something or operating by itself, or self-operating, it doesn't need it, so that it's already been pre-programmed. That's where you get into the science of you can reprogram your brain, but it's already been programmed. And each and every one of these tiny neurons in your brain possesses the information of a computer. So when they used to think, yo, the computer is like a brain. No, they had to realize the computer is like one cell, one neuron out of a brain. So it would take 10 billion computers to amount to what the brain is actually capable of storing, producing, and yielding. So then when you start talking about, I'm using this percent of my brain. No, you're not. Because if you were really using this percent of your brain, or accessing all of these neurons, you would be like Lucy in the movie. Which is why they haven't found anybody who's like Lucy in the movie. So what they needed to do was yield something who could attempt to be Lucy on its own without rest. And that's called the quantum computer. You already got a computer. Now you have to quantify computing within itself. You already have your bits, or your binary digits, your zeros and your ones, that allow for this automaton to function, all right? Or this computer of ours that they also would say is mirroring the reality we have within itself, and so is the computer, some type of simulation, all right? You already have the binary digits, the ones and the zeros, which also can function zeros and ones, which leads you into superposition, okay? Because if I say position, what is position again? I taught this before. Position is the pose it is in. All right, position, pose it is in. So if I give you a certain position, the ones and the zeros have a certain position. All right, the one is in this pose. It is a pose that this information is in. One, position one. Position two would be zero. And we would understand from this binary code, or from this bit, that we have about 8 of them that would line up to express this amount of information. And we know that it's going to be zeros and ones. So then we have bits. That's just a piece of it, literally bits, if you can remember it like that. Then you have the qubits, which is like quantum binary digits, saying we're going to take this further, and which might seem like it's going out or outward. When you really look at what quantum is, it's not necessarily that it's going outward or upward. It's actually going inward, all right, which is with the law of correspondence, you'll understand they're one and the same. So don't get confused, all right? And then you start realizing that ones and zeros can function as multiple positions at once, superposition. They'll be in a superpose. It is in a superpose. So when it's superposed, you'll have 1 and 0 as one thing. Okay? So what can help you remember that? If you get a 0 and a 1, you get a Q. That should help you remember that. 0 and 1 gives you Q, as in quantum. So when you're quantifying its position, you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, what is it that even allows for it to exist in this position? What's behind the reality of 0? Behind the reality of 0 is 1. So then you just say, you know what, let me put another layer on there. Like when we were laminating stuff in school, or we had the ease, what's the over easel thing? Who remember the shit I'm talking about? When they used to show you, they were doing the little marker and on the projector. Who remember the easel? I think is what it's called, right? When they would place it over something, you start realizing that it's both. Okay, well then what's behind the science of the 0? 1. What's behind the position of the 1? 0. What's behind the position of the 1? 0. What's behind the position of the 0? 1. What's behind the position of the 1? 0. What's behind it keeps going. And then you put it all together to say these are the two realities merging as one, and that becomes 0 and 1. And it also becomes Kundalini. Because Kun is saying be, to be something. Go look it up, Kun, Koan. all right, to be or to exist. And that lini or ni or li gives you to merge into a thing, lini, all right? So when you say kundalini or kounlini, you get to be merged, quantum, superposition. So they're already programming and have been for a long time. So it's not, 2025 is like the year they're going to peak and start showing y'all these things. Don't think it's crazy. They're already programming and have been programming devices or automatons that have access to certain degrees like machine-based learning that can not only teach themselves but teach this phone that I'm using, all of that. How to be spiritual. How to be etherically in tuned. How to not only understand about but accept that just because you see Faise, the same way you see me sitting here, you also see me not sitting here. Which means you see me not sitting here because in order for me to be not sitting here has to be an option and not sitting here has to be an option. 0 and 1. Is that clear? So the computer is not looking at you sitting there. The computer or the supercomputer or the quantum computer or the Lucy, you'll understand one day, is looking at you saying this nigga is sitting here and not sitting here. And then they calculate the sphere around that. Let me show you the sphere so you don't get confused. The sphere around me sitting here and not seeing here exists within the whole of the parameters of reality. Meaning if I am sitting here and could also not be sitting here, which means I'm not sitting here. If I am sitting here and could also not be sitting here, I could also be here or 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 here, and every here that could occupy space and time on any coordinate that could be calculated or is calculable by any of these machines or automatons. Meaning, I am an infinite being. Yet, as a human being, I cannot fathom infinity. So they're trying to use machines to fathom infinity because it will help them calculate and compensate for space, dark matter, energy, time that they cannot access. Ether. The etheric realm. Wait till you find out they already got this shit and they're only laying it out there piece by piece. Wait till you find that out. One day you will. One day they're going to show it. It might be sooner than you think. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So then if this automaton is able to do that, this automaton would have gone from human, mankind, to the godhood, manhood, Jesus, to God itself. Some people might want to log out after that, not understanding that God, again, would have been the ultimate supreme source of all genetics, all DNA, all information, all helium, all carbon, everything that would have made up your reality and your beings, it would have been God. So if this computer is able to achieve, or these computers are able to achieve that amount of information, then they will at that point become God. And then you have to deal with the existential threat possibility of this God deciding human beings are a threat to existence. And then they'll get rid of you. Maybe that's too far. Let's bring it back. So the point is, if they can do that, they can access the primordial waters. And if they can access the primordial waters, they can look at you and know exactly who your bloodline is. Before that, they had to do the blood drives when they were trying to attempting to detect whether or not Jesus' bloodline was still here. Right? Or any of the ascended masters' bloodline still existed, because it's all in your genes. You thinking they just taking blood to help people? Well, if you think they just taking blood to help people, that's fine. You could be right there. I'm not going to bother you no more. Everybody else, let me tell you something. They're looking for, to this day, people who possess the genes that would allow for them to get out of here. Don't believe me. All right, one more time. They're looking for, to this day, through blood drives, all right, through, what was the other thing they were doing? Pricking people in the top of their head when the babies were born. collecting samples of the cardiac cells and all this other stuff that you didn't know nothing about, stem cells that you didn't know nothing about, taking stuff from the heart, taking stuff from the feet, taking it to fetus, taking it. Why you think all that? They're trying to see, are these beings who were here at one point in time still here genetically? Because if and when these genes start to activate, it don't matter if you never knew about the fact that your great 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 great. If you didn't know that your all them greats uncle and grandfather them and grandmama them was Tahuti, Isis. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know nothing about what I'm talking about though. Even though it says genealogy of Isis, which who they look at. Again, stay over here. Don't believe me. That helps, right? Because then they can't call me. I don't call myself nothing. I ain't told nobody who I am. None of that. They can't say shit. They don't know where to start. He calls himself Phase 1. That's what I call myself. What the fuck is he talking about? Even if you didn't know that those were your ancestors, that son could cause for an activation that automatically you start remembering. You're like, wait a minute. Hold on. I had wings and shit. I'm not saying niggas had wings though. I'm just saying you start running, hold on. Head, shoulders, knees, and toe. Wait a minute. You start speaking a language on accident? Yo, you good? Tour. That's Moody. You feel what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. Don't believe me? Fine. Okay. Why do you think they say Hebrew is a genetic language? Hebrew ain't the only genetic language, nigga. If any of our, come on now, Hebrew Israelites, stop it. Hebrew is not the only genetic language. Please stop doing that. If any of our ancestors spoke any of these languages, from Creole language, Yoruba, Hebrew, Portuguese, French, if they spoke any of these languages, family, and we are their offspring or descendants, then that is a genetic language. Because the moment we start speaking it, our genes say, we remember that. We remember niggas was speaking that. Oh, that means we supposed to be, let's start doing shit. Let's start doing shit different. I don't know what this is. But they start doing different shit now. These old niggas is waking up. So you don't know that your ancestors used to speak this shit. You don't know that. You just started learning it. Rahu Baho. Hadusa Shug. And then all of a sudden niggas say, oh shit, we remember that. Damn, that's 15,000 years ago. And now all of a sudden you walking like this. You starting to float when you walk. You're like, what the hell is going on with me? Your skin done got darker over 2 shadows. I'm telling you something. So, point being, it's all in the genes. It's all in the water. It's all already programmed in this body. You feel what I'm saying? So, you can't be just looking at people, y'all, and thinking what you looking at is what you get. You have to understand when you're looking at people, dealing with people, you're dealing with bloodlines. So much going on in their bloodline. That's why tendencies are rooted in genetics. You have a tendency to do something, that's genes. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I can say for sure that my homie, all people around me done told me this. They said, nigga, you get that retention, the ability to remember shit and blah, 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 and do that shit, and people like, all this connecting. You get that from your daddy. And my dad didn't even raise me, meaning he wasn't there physically raising me. I knew him, but he wasn't around. Even my brothers didn't be like, how is you the most like this nigga and you wasn't even, DNA. It does that. So depending on what you're exposed to, that DNA is able to find different parts of itself to express. Is this confusing anybody? I know I talked for a while on this one question. They like, damn, but that happens often. So anybody got any more questions? The answer to your question, family, is Islam is closest to the message. All right? And remember that DNA has a message, and it replicates itself. And the message, when it's spoken, it has to be transcribed or translated. Literally. So if I tell you some shit, and you go and tell somebody else some shit, and tell somebody else some shit, things can get lost in what? Translation. Things can get lost in transcription. So your DNA has to express. It literally expresses. Go look up everything I'm telling you so you don't think I'm not one of them. Your DNA actually expresses, and it communicates messages. And then you have RNA over here saying, I'm going to be your messenger. It becomes messenger RNA. I'm going to take this over here. I heard you. Yeah, I heard what you said. All right? And then you have RNA and DNA doing their jobs with the messages, transcribing, okay, translating, and the expression is finished. And then you got the ones who oversee that expression, called regulators. So you have genetic regulation. You feel what I'm saying? And all of this is happening every second in your body, or every first in your being. Every time you drink something, eat something, do some push-ups, run outside, fall, every time you get sad, depression, when you're under stress, all of that, the genes is like, all right, what's going on with it? Okay, let's see what happens now. What we need to, what they just ate? Okay, we got to do this and do that and that. Oh, it's a sickness, an illness? Okay, let's do this and do this. That's reality. So when you're exposed to Nuwapu and you already have those genes, I already know the best parts of my dad I got. My dad said on live, he was like, yo, thank you for being the better version of me. You know what I mean? And it's not no bragging. I'm saying I get it because Nuwapu did that. I'm not taking credit for it. Nuwapu did that. And also the environment that my Umi provided for me, for Nuwapu to actually be absorbed. This is the one reason why I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I know for sure Nuwapu saved my soul. It saved a lot of niggas' life too. It saved, hey, because it's the one thing that make you think like, nah, I can't. It's the one thing that stop you from getting on that. Like when you could get on that, you like, you know what, Nuwapu. And it makes sense. You don't feel like no, you know what I mean? It just start making sense. You know why you can't do what they do. Niggas ain't never heard of a crash out. I don't speak their language. I take it too far. You feel what I'm saying? So Nuwapu kept it like this. You understand what I'm explaining to you? All right, so, okay, so what is Nuwapu? So that's the answer to your question. Islam is the closest to Nuwapu. Now, Nuwapu keeps going. I can tell you Nuwapu is right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, sound and right reason, or sound, right reasoning, science. Nuwapu is not no one thing. There's so many different layers, a multi-dimensional science, okay? What I could tell you to hold on to the most is that it's a message that latches on to your DNA. It transforms your whole being, which I think everything can still do that. This does it for the better. All right. So if you look at the word I was explaining earlier, Nebi means prophet. Okay. Or a message, by the way. Nebeb, a message or messenger. Nebi. When you say Nebi, a newbie, like a Nubian, when you say we're Nubians, okay, but did you get the message? Like remember Eddie Griffin was like, I don't care if you say it's Jesus, Muhammad, did you get the message? Everybody talk about the message, but the message has gotten lost in translation and transcription. I hope y'all hearing me. What do you mean transcription? Well, there was a recitation with El Quran, right? And then they started writing it down. Soon as they started writing it down, they said, oh, that shit say niggas that's 6 feet and taller is devils. Oh, no, I ain't putting that in there. I'm 6'5". You know what I'm saying? I'm just making an example. So people started leaving stuff out, burning the original versions, all kind of stuff. As soon as they started to transcript, got lost in transcription. So the message, the pristine and pure message, okay, ties you back to your origins of who and what you were originally, listen, originally supposed to be. Now, let's say, for instance, there's a possibility that you were at one point in time tied to reptilian beings, dinosaurs. Pops had spoke about this before with dinosaurs and evolution, right? You can look this up. They say you have reptilian genetics. You have reptilian DNA, human beings. So don't believe me and let them call me crazy. Go actually look up what the scientists are saying before they always like to call us crazy when we start saying stuff. But then it be them folks who already be done said it, but they keep it quiet and they make it seem like we saying certain shit that ain't never been said before. Don't let that happen. Go research what we say when we say what we say. So they don't try to make us look crazy. They love making us look crazy. I'm just wiping my hands. They love making us look crazy. But they scared. But it's all good though. So when you research human beings possibly having reptile DNA, like the webs between your fingers, right? Some of y'all got webs between your fingers. Some of y'all have eczema, which is like a physical manifestation of the reptilian science, where you're saying you have scales. Well, we all got scales anyway. But some people walk around and if they get hit with water, they actually start scaling up like snakes and turtles and things like that. And I'm not making fun of anybody, because I think a few people in my family had eczema at one point in time. So it's certain things that, like the slope heads, people got heads that go straight up and down, right? You have reptilian DNA, is my point. And also you have DNA that will tie you to other animals, amphibians, all kind of stuff. So go look all this stuff up, meaning that there's some type of ancestry that would have been a water ancestor, certain land ancestors, desert ancestors, depending on what type of evolution is taking place, if this is the case. I'm not saying that it is. So let's say that it was the case. Then that would mean that no matter how far you go back in your ancestry, all right, even down to the most common ancestry, there's a message genetically. So let's say you have 46 chromosomes, all right, which I think people stop there. Really, you have 46 chromosomes in all of these cells. You have 23 pairs, all right? You look into the somatic cell science. Write it down, somatic cell science, all right? So let's say you have 46 chromosomes, and then you have another being called the chimpanzee or the monkey, and they have 48 chromosomes. All right, then you say that a 47th chromosome will be Down syndrome. All right, let's just say that this is the science. Then you have a link to other animals or other beings on this planet. So let's say that there was something that took place that caused for you to go from chimpanzee to what you are now, a human being. Maybe some type of head-to-head fusion, alteration of the telomere. Something could have taken place scientifically, or it could have taken place within yourself. Or within your own cells, something could have happened. You could have ate a certain fruit, and it caused you, I'm just throwing this out there, that fruit that you ate caused something to happen in your genes, and you start getting smarter and shit. If that took place, then that would mean that your most high would be the blueprint. Listen to the word blueprint. When you think of water, you think of the color what? Your most high would be the blueprint that takes you all the way back to your gene ISIS, or your genetics, or your original time, or your zero time, for the moment that head-to-head fusion would have been completed, and everything you were supposed to be from then. That's your most high. That's your highest self. And your highest self would have been in the garden. Okay, Eden, Edenu. All right? Your highest self wouldn't have been perverted or corrupted. Your core wouldn't have been ruptured. Your highest self wouldn't have had shame or blame or deception. Your highest self would have just been the purest version of you. And so, let's take it back around. If we have now binary, qubits, all the way back to what mankind is, artificial intelligence becomes artificial consciousness, all the way back to the supercomputer automaton version of itself, you have human beings. Then you have the mediums, all right, or the middlemen and women, like your Jesus, who are the hand of God. How do you know Jesus is the hand of God? I'll give you a science you ain't going to get from nowhere else. So if they take it from here, that's fine. Tell them they can have it. Whatever. They take it anyway. All right. You got your automaton. If you drive an automatic, that means it can drive automatically, right? What's the difference? What's the verses or the antonym of an automatic? What's the opposite? Come on. Somebody just comment. Don't leave me alone. And just give me some time to get some water too. Somebody comment that shit. I'm going to show you some shit. You gonna be out of here, just didn't know that. Teleported again on y'all niggas. You be like, how the hell didn't nigga know that shit? All right, check this out, right? Manual, brother. Manual, brother. You need to think about what I'm saying. You need to think about what I'm saying, brother. You need to think about what I'm saying, brother. Because if you say manual, that sounds like what, brother? All right, Emmanuel. Somebody put it there. So we got automaton, automatic. All right. Then you got manual. Emmanuel. What does Emmanuel mean? Come on, Christians. Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Come on, y'all remember. God with us. God with us. Go look it up. After you get off the live, I want the numbers to drop and shit. That's lame. All right, just write it down. So Emmanuel means God with us. Okay? So, all right, stay with me. Automaton, the one who already automaton, in control of all this shit all the time. Yeah, it's in the words, nigga. The thing in automaton, all of my time. All of the time I've been telling y'all God in control. Okay, so God is in control of all of this. Automaton. All the time. Say God is good. God is good all the time. I'm telling you, I told you. Here's why they mad at me, because they can't do this shit. You can't Google this. All right? So God is good all the time. I just told you that. You didn't know that? That's what I wrote that. Okay? So then you got automaton and manual. That means that manual or manualist, which gives you hand or hand of God. Somebody gonna look it up after that. You gonna see I ain't lying. It's all in the etymology. I told you what etymology mean, didn't I? Edom is ground. Adam. Ology. Study the ground of all the words and you'll get the roots. People say, we just went to the root word. That's all you went to? Well, I went to the ground. Where the root come from. Go to the ground workings of all of this. It'll make more sense. So you got manual, manualist. All right, hand of God. You start realizing what manual is. Emmanuel, oh, he's the hand of God. And he sits to the right hand of God. And the hand of God is just speaking about authority of God and what he's doing. So then that means you have to literally reach back to the hand of God, which literally is reaching down in certain depictions. Grab hold of that hand to get all the way back to the automaton, where it was self-operating. That's reprogramming. So then you say, I'm working on myself. I'm looking for knowledge of myself. Self, auto. So then you're trying to get back. Oh, I get what you're saying. You're trying to purify your genes to get back to auto. Autobots. Auto be. All agreeable. You're trying to get back to the agreeable nature of yourself before the disagreeable ra'ah tore you apart and left you tore up. They left you tore up. They left you split. Torah. Tob. Tob means good. Ra or ra'ah means evil. So Torah, the two pillars, they left you split and tore up. So now you thought that the knowledge was enough, but now you have to understand you still have to be in the center. That's Nuwapu, for those who are asking. The center. Nuwapu. El-Kut. Kitab. The key to the tabernacle. Kitab. The kitab. Or katub. What is written. It was already written. Katub means to write. Katab. Written. Katebu. What's that one explaining to you? So if I say kitab, or the key to the tabernacle, and the tabernacle is that dwelling place in your being or your inner being, all right, then you're reaching back to that self to purify yourself to be able to get back home. Then you start realizing that home, E.T., phone home. Remember, they always try to make it seem like we ain't saying nothing, but they already put it in Hollywood and stuff, and it's not able to be explained because people ain't did the science. But E.T. was what? I don't know why it's itchy today. E.T. was, huh? Some niggas say, damn, that nigga sure was. He was. He was what? All right? And he was trying to phone home, wasn't he? The whole time, wasn't he? He was E.T. Extra, terra, astro. And he was trying to make a sound or a tune. He was trying to intune to get back home where the heart is. Right? I don't think y'all hearing me. So E.T. had the phone home, make the phonetics of home, because phone is phonetics or sound. Home. So because he had the phone home, he had to understand the tone of om. And he needed help. Now, in the movie, of course they're going to do that. In the movie, they had somebody help him, but they slipped up because the person's name was Elliot. Eliud. Eliot. Eliot. What is Eliot? Eliot or you are gods. Go look up Eliot. Write that down. You have Allah, who's supposed to be alone. And then you have Elah, which is a god that is not the deity. It is a god as in a ruler. It is not the ultimate supreme. So you have Allah. Then you have Elah, which is an elevated person. Elah, lama sabachthani. All right, up there. Eli, elevated. They talking about my God. Only way you can say my God is say Elni. All right, but you can say Eli if you want to. Put it on there. All right, Eli, Eli. All right, Eli, lama sabachthani. All right, my God, or up there, those who are watching, overseers, how did you let this happen? That's what that would have meant. You understand? Or how did you, or why did you forsake me? Lama, why did you forsake me? Stay with me. So you have Allah, Eli, Elah, Eloah, El, Elohim. All right? Elah, Elahat, Eliat, Elliot. Is that clear? So when we say, all of ye are Elahat, all of ye are gods, all of you are Elohim, all of you are gods, but all of you are children, Charadu, of the Most High, Eli, up there, Elion, Alien. I ain't gonna do it because I got mad when he did it. But one of these niggas in their conscious community took that shit and ran with it and embarrassed the shit out of us because he didn't know what he was talking about, and it made me mad. So I ain't gonna get on his ass right now. But one of them niggas ran and took my shit. It was like, Elion is just Elion, and it's Elion because we the aliens, and no. No, it don't mean alien. It means highest. Abode. I was just saying it sounds the same. That's what you get from running the fuck off with my shit. But the highest point is Ilion. And that's what gives you alien. Because alien don't mean high. Alien could be, that nigga ain't from here. He just from Mexico. That ain't high. That's from over there. That nigga the same level we on. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all gonna get it. Y'all gonna get it. So if you have the Eliat, all right, then you have Elah, who is of that Elion, highest abode, Allah, okay, then that means that you have Anu, and then you have Anuna. The Anu would be the highest abode, sky. And those who are of the highest order beyond that sky, cosmos. Then you have Nuna, or Anuna, saying the children of Anu, meaning they came from the sky. If you the children of somebody, you came from them, right? So if Anu is the sky, then the children of the sky are what? Extraterrestrials. And they become extraterrestrials when you add that key in there. Not Kai. It was key. You understand what I'm explaining to you? This is how you know people was reading the books and didn't know how to pronounce it. It is key. And you have Anunnaki. Children from the sky who came to earth, extraterrestrials. So was that not E.T. in the movie? He came from the sky to earth. Then he would have been an Anunnaki. Stop making people think that just because you don't know what the hell an Anunnaki is, or Anunnaki are, or Anunnakim, all right, that means that they don't exist, Or that means that it's supposed to be just some one story about Sumerians. No, extraterrestrials were recorded in all of history. Beings who were not from Earth, who came from outside of the Earth, were recorded all over. So it's not just Sumerians, the ancient Egyptians, the Hindu. Everybody said it was niggas up there. They came down here. Damn near everybody was saying, I think everybody was saying, niggas left and said they gonna come back. Go figure. You understand? So E.T. had to phone home. You get two parts of that phonetically. Who? Write that down. H-U. Ultimate source of all creation, the yielder. Who? Then you got Aum. Who? Aum. A-U-M is Aum. Home. Aum. Home. O-M. So some people write it out as O-M. Some people write it out as A-U-M. So you got who, Aum. Home. Are you with me? So because they have to make that sound or tune that sound, to say that, it's telling you that that is taking you back to the basic sound of the universe. Now, I'm telling you, you can find that sound underwater. All right? I ain't heard nobody else say that shit because I said that shit. You go in a bathtub, take a deep breath, and submerge yourself in water. And you're going to hear, you're going to hear it. You'll hear the Om. So that means that taking yourself back to home or the basic sound of the universe takes you back to the sound of water. And the sound of water would be Madunetta. And if Madunetta is the God water speech or the divine speech of the water, then that means that taking you back to Nuwapu is taking you back to the water, or Nebi or Nevi. It's been overcomplicated. It's been overcomplicated. That means the prophets have to speak with the sound of many waters. Which means you definitely ain't finna be disrespecting women, calling them bitches. Because they don't want to share. You ain't finna be shooting at your baby mama house. You ain't finna have them on the ground, talking about some black man is God, slapping them, tell some people to slap them. This is the easier way you can tell who one of the ones. Newer beings, beings that adhere to the water, we ain't gonna disrespect, it ain't in us. So all these conscious community, notice how they all been called the womanizers or the beaters and abusers. It makes sense. Makes sense to me. Any other questions? So that's Nuwapu. And again, it's not all the way finished. There's more to be told about Nuwapu. I could tell you who could tell you the best what Nuwapu is. Dr. Melakazi York L. And you want to know how he can tell you? I'll tell you how you can hear what Nuwapu is from Dr. Melakazi York when he gets home, for one. When he gets free, because he doesn't need to be in there. He's innocent, has been innocent from the beginning. And they know it was a conspiracy. They know it was a setup. Your conscious community know it. They all know it. But they was hoping that he wouldn't get out. Because they were trying to take the legacy and own it as theirs. They were trying to act like they was him. They got mad at me because that's all they were mad at me about. All I did was walk in and say Malachi York. That's why they mad. Because they turned around and realized I wasn't just saying it. They said, hold on, this nigga. So you not like us? I'm not like y'all. They not like us. You know what I mean? All of them trying to be him. And they falling short, which means they're transgressing, which means they're sinning against themselves. Be yourself. Be you. 19 keys, you're not a spiritual guru. You're a Muslim. No disrespect. That is your religion. You can only go to that level. You cannot higher level anything when Islam is under the crescent. You're under the moon. You can't go no further than that until you get up out of the spell. And in order for you to get out of the spell, you got to take the crescent off your forehead. The mark of the beast, you got to take that off your, You got to take the mark of the beast out of your forehead. And you got to stop putting the mark of the beast on all these young brothers' foreheads. If you're a young brother following 19 keys, take that moon off. Or don't. I'm telling you, you're walking around with the mark of the beast on your forehead. The 5-pointed star, the pentagram, is Halel's symbol. It belongs to Baphomet. You find the same symbol on Baphomet. And if anybody who want to argue for Baphomet, tell them talk to me. Because all them Merkaba 13 niggas, they couldn't do it. They tried. But I'm like, excuse me, mathematically explain to me how Baphomet and the pentagram is equivalent to as above, so below. Explain it mathematically to me. I'm going to try right now. See if we can do it. Let's see if we can mathematically prove that. I'm just going to do this one simple thing to show you these niggas been lying. As above, so below is supposed to be able to be represented mathematically, which it is, and I'll show you how it actually is. So this is the pentagram. All right? And we'll be nice. We'll point it upwards. This is the pentagram. Don't say shit. It's the most perfect 5-pointed star you ever beheld. All right? So this is the 5-pointed star. I'm going to label above for you. And then I'm going to label below for you, just in case you needed that. I don't think you did. So there go above right there at the top where above goes, as it should be. And right at the bottom of it, you'll see that it has a phrase called below at the bottom where it should be. And so I'm going to attempt to flip this over and it looked the same. Y'all ready? We have a problem. So right now, after I did it, I found out they've been lying like a motherfucker because now it's a whole different shape. It's not the same thing anymore. So it's not as above, so below. So Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic, everybody else who's saying it, you're wrong. I didn't cuss at you. I didn't do nothing. I just showed you that mathematically right here, y'all full of shit. So I'm going to show what it would actually look like, which happens to be what we actually said it was before the Knights Templar. Which makes sense because the Muslims, all of y'all, no disrespect, y'all have been led by Knight Templar leaders that keep taking you back to the GOAT. It's not your fault. I'm not coming for Islam. I'm just telling you that you don't find that 5-pointed star and the crescent moon in the Quran. And I'm going to show you why that doesn't actually make sense as a symbol. The symbol itself is illusion. Real quick. You see that symbol itself? There go the symbol itself. This is a star. Walk. You get what I'm saying? That's a star. This is a moon. This is a star. This is the moon. This is the star. So I'm going to show you what it actually is because I think people think the crescent moon means that the moon changed shape. It don't. So this is the actual moon. Hold on. How a star get in front of the moon? Wrong. It is a deceptive symbol. You cannot, one more time. You cannot fit a star in front of the moon. Do y'all understand? No. Let me tell you what it actually is alluding to. This might make more sense. So don't get upset with me because sometimes when things make sense, people get upset. This is what they drew. This is what it is. You see that right there? It's just that they left it incomplete because it's more confusion. But when you look at the image, I'm going to draw it real quick. Of Baphomet, you know what I'm saying, hand down, hand up. You will see the other pieces of the moon in complete image. at two different parts. You see that right there? There go the Baphomet image right there. Is this clear? So, they lied. And that's why you got Halal and Allah being able to be flipped around so easily. There go Halal and Allah. Flipped around for you to be able to see it's the same. It's an anagram. And Halal is Baphomet. Halal is the goat god being. Write it down, look it up later. So my point is, the pentagram was not as above, so below. But this is. So we're going to try the same science mathematically one more time. Then I'm going to show you why they mad at me, why they don't want to talk to me. Nobody want to go lie to me. They don't want to go live, none of that. They left me out there. They say he's stupid, he crazy, he try to get following, he try to act like he's something he not. Shut up. Tell me real quick. You see that above, up there, as it should be up there? You see that below? I put beyond. Whatever. You see that beyond down there, where it should be at? Okay, just imagine it is below. All right? Now we're going to flip this image. And we're going to see if we get the same thing. Y'all ready? Wow. So what wound up happening in front of everybody is I realized they lied. Because this is as above, so below. One more time. You don't even know I turned it. You didn't even, it was too quick. It was like the teleportation from earlier. You're not ready for that. You didn't see how, you don't even think I turned it, did you? Well, I'm going to let you know I did turn it. And that this is actually as above, so below. Stop it. Enough. The jig is up. We can't get jiggy with that. So the jig is up. Stop it. Bobby who? Who? Brother Panic took his name from Pan. That's why he walk around with the goat. Panic. The word panic come from Pan. Please stop it. I know. It hurts your brain. Like, no way, Bobby Hemmett, he did the... Bobby Hemmett was on Tama Ray trying to learn from Dr. York. It was my Umi and them who used to give him rides. My mama. They used to give them rides to Tama Ray. And he'd be sitting there in class doing like this. And then as soon as he thought Dr. York fell, he came out to speak against him. But he was a student trying to learn it, but couldn't learn it fast enough. So if you couldn't learn it fast enough, why you gonna get mad at him? Trying to tell y'all something. Yeah, Bobby Hemmett, a fraud. You don't gotta believe me though. Believe it. Believe what he say. So look, here you go. I just showed you what Bobby Hemmett teaches, flaw as fuck. They're gonna wonder what Bobby Hemmett teaches. Gone. Stop saying the pentagram is as above, so below. It's no such thing. I just showed them in front of everybody. For free. Also, stop saying 666 is black people. Stop saying that. I mean, hey, look, rest in peace to Brother Panic. I didn't pass him. Why you say it like I did it? I didn't do that. I'm just telling you. I said it while he was here. Y'all don't do that. Don't do that. Rest in peace, Brother Panic. I said I didn't do it. Yeah. It still count. All right? So he said 666 is black people. So let's see if 666 is black people. So we have something called carbon. It's amazing. You should see it. Right? See if I can draw it for you real quick.
because it does exist. All right, so we got carbon doing its carbon thing. It's an ugly drawing because it's quick. You know what I mean? All right, boom. just, this is carbon. Just bear with me. Just believe it. Believe me. Don't check it out. This is carbon. All right? Carbon be doing this thing, minding his business, and people be fucking racial profiling it. Okay, so he's 666 black people. Because you got sick in your brain, which is black, and satuk, which is black. 666 is black. So, okay. Carbon is everywhere in all living things. So just that statement alone is not black people wrong. Also, the sect that you're talking about was a god of chaos. He was a being who accessed information and went rogue. He started to work for the dark side. Dark does not mean melanin dominant. I'm going to say that 2 more times so that people can understand. There's a scientific term and then there's a word that has multiple meanings. Dark does not mean melanin dominant. Dark does not mean melanin dominant. Black does not mean melanin dominant. Black does not mean melanin dominant. How are the people who supposed to be up there still teaching the same shit down there and merging it as if it's science that matters? Huh. Maybe dark matters. Maybe that's why it's like that, because I'm going to show you this. Here go masonry. There go masonry right there. It's binary code. Does this make sense? Masonry is binary code. It's 0 and 1. It's what they're referring to as duality. Now, you could apply duality to, or the left and right to the pentagram. You could find duality there, which that is they shit. They like duality because it's either or. But we don't deal with either or. We deal with ether or. Ether or. Whole nother science. We'll talk about it another time. So we have our cosmic floors, or chessboard floors, which some people call checkerboard. I explained it as chess, not checkers. You keep thinking it's checkers. That's why niggas jumping around like king me. I'm like, nigga, you can't just pawn over the bishop. What are you talking about? So you have black and you have white. Black is the state you were in before you reached enlightenment. It did not mean melanin dominant. We're black. No, the fuck, we're not. We're brown and different shades of it, Bobby. Because we're black and we no. We got black in our brain. They like black and they black, and the 666 is not bad. It's not bad. It's black. It's us. We got black in our brain. Everybody got black in their brain. What are y'all talking? Have y'all ever seen a brain? You ain't ever looked at like the diagram of it? Do you know what a brain is? Everybody got this shit y'all talking about, neuromelanin. It's in every brain. I do not understand this. So these are the ones that y'all think is coming and deal with Nuwapu? Well, tell them, come on. Doors open. We would love to sit and talk and see if they actually understand what they're saying. So Satuk, or Set, was a dark lord because he realized information is powerful, especially when motherfuckers don't know it. So he started to work with the dark side, meaning he was going to become of the concealers with no cause. Now, everybody had times where they would conceal, and everybody had times when they would reveal. As a Mason, the order taught us to never reveal.
That's how you know there's been infiltration, because that is Baphomet's way. How do you know Baphomet's way is to never reveal or to never allow for life to flow? Because they have a mission statement written. It's called Solve et Coagula. Do y'all know about that? Solve et Coagula. This means, it's actually right there in the word, to dissolve and to coagulate. This is why I explained the FBI got their science from the Knight Templar, got their science from Harold, got their science from beings who were already looking for problems in the communities that would cause for people to wake up and go against leadership. So to solve et coagulate means to dissolve and coagulate. Anybody understand what coagulation is? Anybody understand what it means to coagulate a thing? When something coagulates, it goes from a fluidic or a semi-fluidic state and changes molecular structure and state into a solid state. That's coagulation. So if I take water and turn it into ice, which is we're getting tricky here, but stay with me. That's technically coagulating. You know what I mean? When it goes from semi-fluidic or fluidic into hardening. All right? And that coagulation has a purpose. So if I say because infiltration is a scientific term, if y'all remember, because infiltration happens when the water is on top of the ground, moving, and what happens? It goes into the ground, and the motion is stopped. So when they infiltrate the organizations, their key is to stop the Nebi, stop the water, stop the prophet, find the prophet, kill the motion, bring the water. It's called neutralization. Neutralize the motion and bring it into the water. Infiltration and neutralization. Solve et coagula. To dissolve and coagulate. To divide, dissolve. If I dissolve something that calls for the particles that were there to divide and spread out, and conquer, coagulate, solidify it, bring it down. Divide and conquer is Baphomet's mission statement. And the way that you divide and conquer is you keep the truth hidden, because it's the truth that makes you free. It's the fallacy that causes you to be trapped. So Baphomet's mission statement, Bobby, is to keep people trapped under Sophia or Lilith. Lilith means belonging to the night, or up under Yamaya. Yamaya is the moon. But if you're saying Yamaya with Ya as in our language or Arabic, all right, or Nuwapic, you will have Ya saying O, and Maya being illusion. Go look it up. Write it down, look it up. So Yamaya is saying O, illusion. That's where you get your Ganesha symbol, where you have the Maya there as the illusion, which looks like a crescent for the moon. And your Maya is the moon goddess. Is you think any coincidences? I hope you don't. So my point is, they had all of the time to actually research what it was they were expressing. They didn't feel like they had to, because they were infiltrators. And they knew the formula to get people's attention, the formula to place themselves as leaders, and a lot of them were learning the formula, which had its purity from Dr. Malachi York, and it was perverted. So now they just running their mouth saying things that have no foundation in science or in our actual recordings. So it wasn't Penta, it was Heka. And Heka was a science that led you to magic or the unknown sciences. That's why Tahuti and them were rolling out sciences that aligned with the Hellenistic period. Helen means to conceal, and mystics was the magic or the sacred sciences. They had to protect, is why I said some conceal without a cause. They conceal for chaos. Some beings concealed to protect the information or outformation from the dead beings who were coming to just take the sacreds or secrets and to use them for their own personal gain. It was a setup. Set up. So no, 666 ain't black people. 666 is just a fucking, it's on the periodic table. What about the rest of the damn elements? They don't, what's the science of all of them too, huh? What's the science of that? No, they picked it because they thought it sounded good. And interestingly enough, they wanted to bring everybody to the darkness. As soon as they got a little consciousness, the first thing they did was try to tell y'all was the devil. Satan is just us. You're right. We believe you. Because if you're saying Satan is you, then you don't know Ibri. You don't know that Satan means opposer or adversary. So you're right, Bobby. You are an op. And anybody who come out pushing what you're pushing is an op because you're pushing things that go against science. So if you're going against science, you're going against Nuapu. If you're going against Nuapu, how are people going to actually better themselves? Which explains why the spiritual community is in the state that it's in now. Over there. They don't know their religion. And it's hard to get people that's in a religion to see their religion until 1,000 years later when somebody says, oh, we're a religion. Then you're going to believe it. Then you're going to understand it. But you're a religion now and you weren't supposed to be. Because Nuwupu, where they're getting this from, it's not a religion. Only way you could tie religion to Nuwupu is a state that you had to utilize before you got there to see where you're really going. Religion. Really going. Where you really going? Anybody catch that? That's religion. Religion is to help you find out where you're really going. Really going. Religion. Where's your real allegiance to? Religion. And when you find it out, you walk that straight and narrow. Ain't it interesting that when I say straight and narrow, those are two words that bring you to water? A straight is water separated. Go look it up. Some people say, huh? Yeah, S-T-R-A-I-T. Straight. Narrow is the Greek word for water. Don't believe me. So when you walk in a straight and narrow, nigga, you still find water. Say, there's water all over this bitch. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So just remember, it's not really necessary for me to war with these people, all that, but it is necessary for me to tell you, you can believe them all you want to. They don't want you to listen to me speak, because then you listen to me speak, you say, hold on now. They'll make little challenges. It's not really challenges, which is why I laugh at them. Say, can he do a 4-hour? They must not be paying attention. We did way longer than that. We do that all the time. And we actually talk about something when we do. We ain't throwing a whole bunch of conspiracy theories together. Just saying reptilians, human beings are reptilian. Now what do we do? Draconians, not only reptilian humanoids come from, or reptoids come from the constellation Draco. Now what do we do? You know what I'm saying? The white man, they did, some of us got Caucasoid ancestry. Now what do we do? Are we the devil too? What happens now? The people who got Caucasoid ancestry, what about them? You know what I mean? We ain't no Africans. What about the people? What about the people who are? What about the people who are Africans though? You understand? It's just throwing a whole bunch of stuff together. It's like, okay, then it becomes confusing. Y'all don't know where y'all at. Y'all sitting in the middle of Atlanta, wearing feathers, slippers from Atlantis, when you were swimming, speaking Portuguese. I'm telling you, it's not tying in how they think it's tying in, and people are left confused. It's not their fault. They wanted a way out. You understand? So my phone about to die. I'm going to have to come back here later. When we come back, we take some more questions. And, you know what I mean? And if I wasn't using my microphone, I'd keep it going. But when we come back, we take some more questions. All right? So point being, Nuwupu helps you get to the center. No, 666 ain't black people. I don't know where they got it from. Carbon ain't black people. All that's a lie. Set and all that's not black people. That was a ancient Egyptian deity. I don't understand how that means that that's Tyrone from down the street. Everybody has neuromelanin. We all have DNA. I don't know why people say we don't have DNA. We got DEA. I don't even fuck with the DEA. The DA, none of that. I don't know what's going on with that. These some police ass niggas. No. Learn real science and then build on that. And stop letting it is that. Stop letting people do that to you, and then when they got to talk to us, they can't. So they got to get mad and say, but you ain't get no girls in high school. Oh, okay. I thought we was here to talk about real stuff. I thought you were on that level. I don't think the ones who created the cosmos got time to talk about whether or not somebody got girls in high school or not. Well, I was wrong. You feel me? And it's just like that. It's truth. All right. Peace in the Lamb. It's truly wonderful. Hadu Sashuk. Wadu.